Okay, sorry, my good people. I know this is the third time me starting it up, but I still know where I'm at. I'm not gonna let nothing phase me. I have basically the Wi-Fi router in my hand, so if it messes up, I have the worst Wi-Fi in the world. Okay, so we're gonna get back to it. No complaining. We're just gonna get back to it. I know where I left off. I'm gonna make this quick, and I'm gonna make this quick because it's just a continuation of the last stream. Just basically going over the rest of my bias. Please stay with me, guys. I'm just going to go over the rest of my bias and see what I'm looking for till tomorrow. And then we're just going to go over basically what the rest of this chart is doing. And it shouldn't be too long because, like I said, it's just continuation from the last stream. Please, if you're in this stream, you have to go to the last stream because they both go together. It's just a continuation. That's why they have the same thumbnail because they are the same video. Okay. Stay with me, my good people. Okay, I'm trying to make sure everything working. Okay, honestly, if the stream is running better down here, which it honestly does look like it's running way faster down here, I might just have to move my whole setup right here because if everything's moving better, I want y'all to be able to see me, and it's looking like it's just moving way smoother. And so I might have to move the setup down here just so y'all can see me clear because my number one goal is to improve my setup, improve my knowledge, and do all of this for y'all. I want to be able to teach y'all. I want to be able to help y'all make money. I want to help y'all be able to understand these markets. And I want y'all to be able to hear me clearly, see me clearly. And that's why I'm ultimately the whole stream, the whole setup is always going to get better. You just got to stay with me, stick with me through the thick and thin, and we will get paid. Trust me, okay? So I'm going to share my screen again on y'all what is going on. I know I gave y'all black screen. Stay with me. Won't be there for long. Okay, yeah, it looks like everything is running pretty smooth now. Okay, so all we had to do is just come downstairs and hold the router in our hand. Who would have thought that would work, right? Okay, so let me go back to the daily. Still nervous. Still gotta watch this. Make sure we run it right, man. Okay. Let's make this quick. Okay, so I marked out this area, another area of demand. Why is this demand? Because this is ultimately, these are the blocks that ultimately created this whole leg up breaking structure, creating new highs, right? Okay. And so that is where I have another area of support and possible reversal, creating an uptrend from the downtrend. Okay. Making a change of character and reversing trend. Okay. And so I have this area marked. So what do y'all think I'm going into tomorrow? I am bearish. And you would say, obviously, Devin. Yes, obvious. But you say obvious, but the markets aren't really this obvious because whenever you think one thing is going to happen, usually the opposite happens. When you think the opposite is going to happen, usually whenever you think one thing and you're like, no, whatever I think usually doesn't happen. So I'm going to think the opposite of the opposite will happen. You see what I'm saying? The market be trying to trick you up. So I have my daily bias is very bearish. Why? Because we did break this 539 area support with this heavy selling strength candle. Why is it heavy selling strength candle? Because you see it started at 544, right? To open the day, broke up, testing this area support, which made a resistance, which y'all know this, before breaking all the way down and closing the day at 536. Not only did it close the day at 536 under our support, no type of wick. No type of wick at the bottom of that candle. There, that is showing that that this market is not ready to turn around. It is showing that these sellers are not stopping. It is showing at the end of the day, these markets were pushing these, that the markets were literally selling off till 3 o'clock. It means the market was literally at a red candle at 3 o'clock. You see what I'm saying? So there is no type of reversal. So I am bearish to start the day. But how would I want to get in to my downtrend? Okay, now let's look at that, because that is a little more tricky. Okay, so now we want to scale down to our lower time frame. Okay, and see where can price potentially retrace to and give a reaction, so I can ultimately feel safe to get in. Right? So let me erase this big old yellow square. I have it yellow, if y'all are wondering, because it's like basically a highlighter. Sorry, I keep trying to make sure. I'm just trying to make sure everything is running right. Okay. So I have to keep looking at it. Okay. And so why do I put my box in yellow? Okay, I put my big time frames, like my daily and my big time frames, like my hourly or my daily boxes yellow, just because it's like a big highlighter basically. And so I distinguish my little time frame fair value gaps and order blocks with a white rectangle, and then my big time frames like my daily and my hours into a yellow. And I'm not saying that's what y'all got to do, but I'm just letting y'all know what I do in advance. I'm going to delete that right now because I don't want to see a big highlighter on my screen. I'm pretty sure y'all don't either. Okay, but I will ultimately mark it back out, and then I will ultimately go over this and I will post it tomorrow morning, just so y'all can see what I'm looking at going into tomorrow morning, which I'm gonna go over now, but I'm gonna reiterate it like I always do. Okay, which, like y'all could probably tell, I say the same thing over and over and over, because I just want to make sure everything is understandable. Because when you're learning something new, it takes a while to get things right, and sometimes you just need to hear it over and over and over and get it beat into your brain until you actually like, oh, okay, I get what he's saying. Okay, and if y'all have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment down below and ask. Okay, and I appreciate every single one of y'all that follow my streams, and even on the streams that get cut out and I have to do a continuation stream, people that actually come and watch these continuation streams, I truly appreciate y'all. Okay. So because these streams are only going to get better. So where can I see price reacting off of? Okay, so what do we have? We have down, we have a high, we have a low, we have a retracement right here before actually giving us a change of character up, right? This gave us a change of character, which giving us uptrend move, right? Before coming down, giving us a retracement and coming down. And why did it retrace? Because it gave a buyer reaction off of the support, bouncing up, which I wouldn't have. I mean, that's a change of character. That's a change of character by definition, because you had a high, low. You call this a retracement, right? Before breaking down even lower, right? So this is a high, low, higher, low. High, low, a lower high, a lower low. Sorry, getting mixed up here. Before reacting off of this demand, you had a change of character right here, breaking up before ultimately falling back down to the support, which showing, because where would you want to have had to? Okay, so we seen our change of character, right? If we wanted to get in for the buy, we would want to see a change of character and then our retest, right? Where would we have had our retest? Where would our retest have been? At this gap right here, right? At this 541 to this 540 area, right? Because we have this gap, this big straight candle, and everywhere else is pretty much filled, right? So you would want to see this retest. Obviously, if you go into the smaller time frame, you could have profited off of this move up to the upside, right? But I'm just talking about in a bigger time frame. Well, this is a 5 minute, so it's not that big of a time frame. I'm just talking about overall, okay? So because overall this is in a downtrend, okay? But you can also, okay, so overall you're in a downtrend, but there are traders who trade pullbacks. The pullback is you're tracing reverse trend. Okay. And I'm pretty sure y'all have heard the trend is your friend. Always trade the trend. And that is true. You always want to trade the trend, but you can trade the pullback within the trend. But that is a very risky and dangerous game because if I'm in a downtrend, right? If I'm getting in a downtrend and I'm like, okay, I have a fair value gap up here. I know price is going to retrace up into my fair value gap. I can capitalize off that up move to my fair value gap. Okay. Well, that's what prices you want to do. That's what technicals say price should do, right? But when you are in a downtrend or in an uptrend or in a trend in general, you can't always count on a pullback to reach that exact area. You see what I'm saying? So it is easier to just trade within the trend than try to trade the pullback within the trend. You see what I'm saying? Because if you're trading a pullback within the trend, you're fighting against the trend, which means you're in a downtrend, you have all these heavy sellers, but you're going in for a buy. You're going in for a buy. And so basically you're fighting all these sellers that are trying to push you down, trying to continue this trend. So you're trying to fight that. You see what I'm saying? So at any moment, if you're like, say price didn't come in, okay, say price didn't come all the way back up here, right? Okay, that's not really a good example because there is no fair value gaps right here, right? There's no fair value gaps right here. So yeah, say a price didn't come up and fill a fair value gap. If there was a fair value gap, price can always knock it back down because you are in the actual trend. I hope y'all are getting this. I got it out, but it's still kind of hard for me to continue going over it. So I'm trying to find the actual good words to get it clear. You don't want to fight the trend. You always want to go with the trend, okay? For beginner traders and even for myself, I do not trade pullbacks within the trend in general. I'm not even going to say I don't try. I do not trade pullbacks within the trend. The trend is your friend. Always trade the trend, okay? Especially if you're a beginner trader like myself. I'm only 1 year in, still learning. I don't consider myself an expert at all. Okay. So the trend is your friend. Okay. So what do I want to see tomorrow? I want to see a reaction. I'm just going to make it short. I want to see a reaction off of this 539. I want to see price potentially come back to this 539 area of support, turning it into, and I can mark it right now, marking it a resistance. I can mark it a resistance right now because we already broke under it. And honestly, this is not even a demand no more. This is now an area of resistance, okay? Until price breaks above these areas of resistance, until price breaks above these levels, they are resistance levels, okay? Once price breaks above those resistance levels, it can test those and make those support again, or make them support again, okay? Just like over here, we broke down to the support. Broke down to the support, had a reaction, right? And then it broke down past the support and made it a resistance, testing it and breaking back down. You see what I'm saying? So these supports turn into resistance. They could turn back into supports again, but you would have to see price break above them and test them and give another reaction, creating higher highs and higher lows. You see what I'm saying? So what I would come into the day wanting to see is price retrace up to this area of resistance, okay? And so that's where I can come down to my 1 minute time frame and scale down even further, okay? So what am I seeing? What am I seeing right here? What am I seeing? Okay. I see price ranging in this area of resistance and what was support, breaking through, making this 539 area resistance, breaking down, okay, making this 538 actually area support, okay, because we can see a reaction off of it. We can see buyers defending that area of 538 before coming down. And look, so y'all can see this in live. Y'all see this heavy buyer? Look, buyer, 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 buyer. Dojis. Look at this big old wick. You see this big old wick down? So ultimately, sellers are trying to push it, but they are, but buyers are defending this level. So I could put my level at 538. Why 538? Well, one of the reasons because this is a beautiful number. It's actually on the dot. Y'all know I like exact numbers and good looking numbers. Okay, and so, but not just because it's a good looking number. Okay, because this is where buyers are in defending this area, which y'all can see, right? I want to make sure y'all can see that, right? They're defending that. So that's why I have this now as another area of resistance. So what price can do, it can break down and test this 538. Test this 538 resistance. Stay with me. Stay with me because this is what I will be looking going into tomorrow. I will be looking at, okay, if price opens up at 537, okay, where it closed at. It closed at 537, right? Because it opened at 537, bought down to 536 before getting, got sold down to 536 before getting bought back up to its open price, which was 537 of this candle, right? So stay with me. What I'm looking at to go into tomorrow, because these are very important. I want y'all to be able to hear me. So when I come in tomorrow, y'all can't just say, you're just saying this because you see in the market, okay? And also, I'm gonna make a post in the morning going over it as well, okay? And so, what I will be wanting to see going into tomorrow, either a test up. Actually, no, I don't want to see a test at this 530. I don't want to see a test at this 538 and break down. You know what I want to see? I want to see price break up, touching this area right here, touching this gap right here. So I'm gonna mark this out live for y'all. Do y'all see this gap right here? That is an area of liquidity. Why is that an area of liquidity? Because that is, and what did I say? Oh my God, man. That's so difficult. What did I say on my smaller time frames? I like to have the boxes white, right? So I make that white. Why do I have it right here? Well, because that is an area of liquidity, because that is a strong selling candle breaking down, right? Before ultimately actually breaking all the way down to 536. It got bought back up, but we could see this is a big strength candle on top of here that didn't get retraced into, which is an area of liquidity, okay? Because you see these areas are sellers right here, right? Because they're also defending where price kept getting bought up from this 537.50 level. We see sellers are defending this area as well, creating these wicks back down, right? So ultimately, you'll see price retrace, sweeping these sellers up here, touching this candle right here before ultimately, and look, what did I tell you guys? I told you guys I was going to get better with this. What did I learn? I told you guys I was going to get better with these. Look, check me out. Okay, so what I could see is price retracing up, tapping this before creating lower lows. Okay, stay with me. Before creating lower lows, or so yeah, see how I did that? I got this thing under control now. Or I can see price come up, tap that, give a little reaction. Okay, look, boom, tapped it, right? Gave seller candle reaction, drop down to this area of support, right? Of 538. Okay. I know where I'm going, but hold up. I want to delete this. Oh man, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm going crazy with the thing. Okay, because why? I need to turn this because I don't want to confuse y'all. This is the area of support. Okay. Sorry, I had it red because I seen on my daily it was broken past, but on this smaller time frame, I see this is where buyers are defending. Okay, So this is an area of support because buyers are defending this area. So I just want to make it green just so we don't get confused, okay? So let me bring this up. So what I could see is price opening up at 537 before coming up and testing this candle and breaking down, right? I could see that. Or what could I see? Okay. I could see it retracing up to that strength candle before creating lower lows. Or what could I see? I could see it starting at this 537, hitting this strength candle, testing my support, coming up, hitting this resistance, and then making a lower low. Now, tell me, what is that? I am very excited right now. I am very excited right now. I'm going to keep that there. I'm quizzing y'all real quick. I'm going to zoom in so y'all can see this formation. What formation is this? I've went over it. I haven't made a video on it yet, which I will make videos on it. But what is this formation? What formation is this creating? Please, somebody give me it in the chat. What formation are we creating? Okay. I don't have nobody in the chat, so I'm going to have to tell y'all it. Okay. So look, what formation is this creating? Well, so I am very excited because I'm going over this. And so ultimately, when I see it tomorrow, I won't be surprised, okay? So I could see price coming up to this strength candle, reacting and making lower lows straight off of this strength candle. Or I could see a breaker block formation. What is a breaker block formation? I went over it, but I will go over it again, okay? I could see price breaking up, touching the strength candle, coming down, testing my area of support, breaking up, creating a higher high, higher low, but ultimately touching my area of 539 resistance before getting broken back down, creating a lower low. But we are not in the trade yet, right? Because we need to see our confirmation on the new trend, right? Sorry, I'm trying to make sure everything's going. So we want to see confirmation on the new trend, right? And so ultimately, this is where you get your breaker block formation. You could see a retest to this area of support, making it a resistance now, turning this area of support into resistance. Or you can see price retrace a little bit more into a fair value gap up here. Or if these sellers are really strong, it could come just short and have, depending on the candles, if you have a gap down here, a gap a little more down here, you could have a price react off of this area and then creating lower lows. Or we could see price come up into a fair value gap, which would be up here, higher up into the trend. Or we could see price come up and ultimately test this support, then turning it into resistance and then creating these lower lows. So that is the breaker block formation, okay? So we can see price opening up and coming up into the strength candle, creating lower lows, or I can see price opening up at this 537 and touching this area, this strength candle, coming down to my support, using that support to boost me up to my strength, to my resistance before making lower lows. Why is this a breaker block formation? And what is a breaker block formation? A breaker block formation is when you break structures on both sides before ultimately reversing your trend, okay? Stay with me. So I'm going to draw this out in plain space just real quick so we can see. Man, I scratched a freaking pimple on my back, man. I was trying to talk to y'all, but that stuff was burning. Okay. So what is a breaker block formation? We have a breakup, a retracement, another breakup. What is that? That's looking like an uptrend, right? Not looking like, that's what an uptrend is, right? So we swept these highs right here, faking people out, thinking it's going to be an uptrend, right? Before coming down, and you'd be like, okay, stop at my fair value gap before creating new highs, right? So I can get in for my trend, right? But no, it broke up, making a high, retraced, making a low, broke up, faking these traders out, thinking it's going to be a buy because we had another break of structure, right? Because anytime you break a high, higher high, that's a break of structure, right? But then it would ultimately come down before sweeping these buyers right here, and then also giving a change of character, right? And then ultimately coming up, and it can test this bottom and ultimately reverse trend. You see what I'm saying? And then it could retrace to a fair value gap and then just continue down. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I can see going into tomorrow. I can see going into tomorrow, I can see that exact formation coming into play, okay? So I can either see my breaker block formation form tomorrow, or I can either see my breaker block formation form into tomorrow, or I can just see a retracement into this strength candle before price creating lower lows. But I'm very skeptical on that move because price does not move that easy. Okay, the market likes to fake out retail traders. Okay, they like to grab as much liquidity as possible before actually making their move. Okay, so that is actually why you see these breaker block formations, because they ultimately want to fake people out thinking it's going to be a certain trend before sweeping them out, right? And then people thinking it's going to be a downtrend, and then it retraces, so you're stopping them people out again that FOMO'd into that trend, right? So you're going to give that retracement, and it's going to come back down, but during that retracement, people that FOMO'd in down to that, they're like, okay, give me a change of character. People that foamed in, right, are going to get retraced out, so they're going to get stopped back out, and then ultimately reversing that trend back downward, okay? And so I hope that was a good breakdown for y'all. And remember, if y'all have any questions, please drop them down below. And remember, guys, remember, guys, we're going to continue getting better, one step at a time, 1% at a time, and 1 day at a time. Okay. Okay, everybody. So I hope I gave y'all some valuable information in here. I hope y'all got the things I was talking about. I hope y'all watched the last stream coming into this stream, okay? And I just hope I was a good service for y'all. And I hope y'all learned a thing or two. If you were kind of confused on the options and how options work and how you profit from options, please go watch my video. I will have more videos out. If you have questions, please drop them down below. I will have better videos out. I will have more breakdown videos of these certain formations, these certain patterns, these certain confluences, and I will be going over everything for you guys. Remember, my goal is to get you guys paid and to teach you guys a thing or two. You see what I'm saying? And so I love every one of y'all that are with me. And remember, guys, stay persistent, passionate, and make sure to get paid. Peace.